Hello, everyone. Good morning. How are you doing today? We're live. It is day 2 of Tpj Wives Summit. We had an amazing time yesterday evening where we had all the doctors in the house. And today we've got two amazing ladies who, well, they're known to you all. And they will be joining me today to go through so many questions that you've sent in. So for the next like 1 minute or so, grab your cup of tea, grab your drinks, and share the videos. Let your friends know that you are live by sharing this video, tagging your friends, and just inviting them to come in. I did say to my husband this morning that I thought that this session may be the least attended. Unfortunately, what happens is that if I was to raise a prayer point about God changing your level, everybody will type amen, and we may have about 2,000 amen under this post within the next 30 minutes. But people do not want to, or they don't make an effort to do things that would help God to change their level. And that is the essence of this session today. So as you read in the intro there, we've got Adeola Remijan and we've got Olusheye Ashiru, two fantastic ladies doing fantastic things. So I'm going to bring them live now so that you can meet them, and then we'll crack on from there. So I'll bring Adeola on first. Hello, sister. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Good morning, Dr.
Good,
Mobola.
good morning. Good morning. Thank you so much for
Happy-
joining us. Now I'm bringing Olusheye on. Olusheye has had to wake up. I don't know what time it is in your country, but just keep the coffee by your side. If
I know.
we hear a solemn sound, I will call you on your mobile to wake you up.
Exactly.
So thank you so much for joining today.
Thank you
So
so
we're going to
much.
be talking about careers, excellence, self-improvement, purpose as women, and we're going to be talking about ministry. Because a lot of women, we're having to handle many things in life, and at times you just don't know how to bring it all together. You don't know how to handle life. So we're going to start with you, Lucia. The first question is, taking care of the total you. What does this mean? You teach women, you coach women, you instruct women, you support women. What does it mean to take care of the total you? You know, the cliche, the word that people just throw around these days. What does it mean to take care of the total you? Fire on.
Okay, so thank you so much for the privilege to be here. And hello, everyone. We thank God for what He's going to do here today. But let me just go to the question, talking about taking care of the total you. And I was thinking about the fact that with the total you, what does that even mean? Let's start from there. Because sometimes as human beings, and especially as women, and when we think about taking care of ourselves, the first thing that comes to your mind is maybe you buy yourself things, a new hat, a new pair of shoes, you go on a cruise somewhere, you go on holiday. But what does that really mean? Taking care of the total you just simply means you're caring for yourself exactly the way God has made you. God made us as tripartite humans, right? Or beings, let me put it that way, where we are spirit first of all, right? And then we have a soul, we live in a body. So when we talk about taking care of total you, we're talking about taking care of yourself, your spirit, your soul, and your body. And how do you care for those things? How do you ensure that every single day you are investing in your spiritual growth? Every single day you're asking yourself, am I where I need to be? What time have I spent today investing in my spirit? Have I spent time communing with God? Have I spent time reading His Word? Have I spent time in prayer, in fellowshipping with one or two other people, who can help me be sharpened? For my soul, that is the part that I find that a lot of us do not even think about, right? How can I take care of my soul, my mind, my emotions? How can I make sure that I'm well in my mind, in my soul? How can I ensure that every single day I'm investing things to ensure that my soul is beautiful, right? How can I ensure that that's happening for me? And then my body. Am I exercising right? Am I caring for God's temple? Am I thinking of what meals I'm eating? What am I putting into my body? Am I ensuring that these three areas of my life are being taken care of? Right? That's what it means to care for the total you. Not neglecting one part, not being overly concerned about the spiritual that you forget that you live in a body, right? Or your soul is a mess, but you're tying scarf and going to church, right? We have to ensure that every area of our heart, of our lives, body, soul, and spirit, we are caring for those areas. Yes, that's it.
Awesome. Thank you so much, sis. You see, I picked something from there. Taking care of you the way God made you to be. I know that taking care of me, one of the things I do is that I pamper myself. There's nothing wrong with you pampering yourself, but you mentioned about connecting. Have I been in contact? Have I been in touch with other people who can help me in the way that I'm supposed to be going? But then that is difficult when you don't know where you're supposed to be going, isn't it? It can be difficult when you don't know, because a lot of people. I was in Calgary in summer, and I was talking about portraying Christ, showing Christ. But then you can't if you don't know what it is, where you're supposed to fit in, because we're all members of this body, but we're doing different things. The same way, my fingers are nice. They can't do what my nose does. So finding where you are and what God has created you to do there is so, so important. Otherwise, you're going to find yourself floating to meet different people at different times. And that will not be good for you as a woman. Sister Adeola, now as Christians, we know that many people are fasting, we're praying, we're sowing seed, we're going for deliverance, we're claiming the word, but it appears that we are not covering. If results were to come by how much we fast, pray, sow seed, we should be ruling in the great places of this life, and we are not. Why is this so?
Yes, thank you for having me, Dr. Mobi. Good morning again, everyone. I really have to pray that my network stays strong. I don't know, it's acting up a bit this morning. But to the question, I have noticed that a lot of women, and now I'm talking about people in the workplace now, and then or career-focused women, and also upwardly mobile women who want to thrive. But you see that people spend a lot more time, like in the back room, fasting and praying and all that. And as you rightly said, the results are not there to show. That's because even the Bible says walk and pray. Okay, everything has to go together. Remember the story of Nehemiah when he wanted to build the walls? I always like to find my analogies in the scripture. And so this morning I asked myself which one I should use. And I got the inspiration for the story of Ruth. Ruth chapter 2, from verse, what is that verse? Yeah, Ruth chapter 2 from verse 2. It talks about the story of Ruth and how she wasn't even a Christian at that time when she came back from with her mother-in-law. It was easy for her to wallow in self-pity and think that, oh, my life has finished, it's all done and over for me. But what did she do instead? She picked herself together and she told her mother-in-law and said, let me go to the fields and pick up the leftover grain behind anyone in whose eyes I find favor. That tells us that Ruth found favor. Ruth had to work. There was something that she needed to do. I'm talking about people who are employed now. It means you have to go to the field, go to your career, look for the work that you have to do. And she didn't just sit at home. One thing she had to do was put herself out there. I'm asking us also to put ourselves out there. Now, there are different ways for you to do that. You could get more qualifications. This is very important. I always tell women that do not just sit because you think you got that first degree. Every time I meet an individual for an interview, I look at your CV and I look at what the last thing you did to improve yourself. and it gets us, asking questions from you. What's the next thing you need to do? Your qualifications are important. Sometimes it's not even because you're not going to, like you all know, it's not like everything I learned in the university for my undergraduate degree is what I'm applying now. But then it puts you in the front of people. Just like the Bible says that the gift of a man makes way for him. Without that, you are the rare. You are not yet, it's not making a way for you yet. So it's important for you to do that. Your qualifications will make you busy. It will put you in the front of people. It's the first thing about your CV. So don't think that if you have what's the lowest degree you could get. Now after secondary school, you have an ND, you think that you have an NC, you think that okay, I'm speaking from the Nigerian context now. All right, wherever you are, it will still apply. Even the Bible says, make every effort to add to your faith. You add virtue, you add knowledge, you add self-control. Keep adding. Your qualifications they could be professional, they could be academic. Whatever you need to do, it's important for you not just sit or rest on your hours. Keep amassing more. Keep getting more things to do. Okay? Now, the second thing is that your qualification also acts as an independent testimony of your capacity. You see, the thing is, if you, again, now a lot of us are on LinkedIn. You are out there in the places where people see you. It doesn't mean that it's all of you, but it at least puts you out there. It lets people know that, oh, if I can trust Adiola because she says she has this degree, she has this postgraduate degree, she has this professional qualification, she has this professional affiliation with this. Because of that, it's more likely that you will be called to go to the high places. Now, the third thing also is that your qualification. I'm hammering on qualifications because people are, I've noticed that a lot of people are just, you are so laid back and so relaxed. You don't want to work on yourself. It opens doors for you. It increases your net worth. It increases your network as well. There are some places that it will get you into. There are some people, for all it's worth, decide to go to places like Harvard or MIT just because they want to have access to some other kind of, another group of people. That's what it does for you. You don't have to go, all that way if you cannot afford it and you can't get there. There's some other places where you could decide to put yourself forward and just earn that degree, earn that qualification, earn that maybe that ICANN or that CFA or whatever it is, just because it gives you access. Just like another analogy is sometimes you buy a business class ticket, not really because you want to you couldn't just have been well off in the economy class, but because there are some kind of people that you sit with just because of that ticket. And then those ones are where you strike the deals. This is where you open, oh, I know someone that knows somebody, and then that's where you get to do some other things or open some other access doors for you. What I'm saying in essence is this, there's this common saying, they tell you that it's what you know, or it's some other people think that it's what you know, or it's no, it's not what you know works for you, it's the people you know. I tell you that both of them are important. What you know is important because it is what you know that will get you to who you know. So let's bear these two things in mind. So praying and fasting is one thing, but at the same time, doing the work, going out there, applying your hands, getting your hands dirty is the only thing that will make a difference between you and those that are non-God believers, like you said it. So the story of Ruth applies. She was out there, she got what she needed to do, she got in the front of people, she got into the presence of Boaz, and the rest of our story is history. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sis. When we talk about people and applying themselves, there's a scenario I always share with people. You know how all of us pray to have a safe journey? How, when you're going to fly, you're praying, you say, Lord, I thank you for the journey ahead of me. I thank you for safe flight. Thank you for the pilot. I thank you for the aeroplane. Even the air hostesses, they will smile at me. I thank you, Father, for my luggage will not be delayed. The truth is, would you like to fly in a plane where the pilot is not qualified, but he has been sowing seed for the past 2 years, and he has attended night vigil for the past 1 year? No. I say to people, a pilot like that will never be employed because of my prayer. So the same way you are aiming and hoping to get to that your next level without preparing, without doing the hard work. Somebody like me is praying that you will not be successful. The reason being that when I get on that flight, I want the people who are flying the plane to know what they are doing, to have the skills. So let us add to our faith, add work. Yes, you may know people, but what do you know? So when they offer you something because you know people, what will you then do? How will the performance be? At times people message me and they say, Omobi, pray. I did not pass my probation. I ask them, what did they say? What was the feedback? When you go for interviews, ask for feedback. They didn't give you the job. What was the reason why? Yes, you can walk away and say, well, I'm too much for them. You see, you can psych yourself. But if you've been in the marketplace and you're looking for a job for long enough, always ask, is there any reason why you prefer that person to me? You're not accepting defeat. In fact, you're stronger than them. If they have any reason, maybe that person messed up or another post is created, they're likely to call you. I shared a testimony 2 weeks ago. This lady has been contacting the same personnel for 2 years. Beginning of COVID, this lady sent me a message and said, oh, Mobi, I didn't get the job. It was really painful. She said, but I'm going to hang in there. Can you believe it? 2 weeks ago, this lady got called by the same organization. She has called them every 6 months or 4 months, every quarter since then. And she'll just call and talk. Another testimony I shared a few years ago, I think it was something about 4 years ago, was this lady. She was a nurse practitioner also. And she wanted to work in this hospital. She heard about, what they offer, how it's a very small community. You can grow, they encourage and support. This lady kept going to the HR. She said, oh, I was just walking by. I just decided to check if you have anything. And one of the days she got there and they were busy in the room. So she asked two people who were standing outside the HR, section. And she said, what's happening in there? They must be really busy today. And they said, are you looking for somebody? She said, oh, well, I've been coming here for quite a while. And I'm hoping that one day an opening will be available for me. And they asked her, what do you do? And that was how she got a job. Wow. Two people, the managers, two managers in charge of her department were talking in front of HR. And she had been going there. So eventually, when they gave her an offer letter, the HR was like, look, this woman has been employed with us for a long time. She just was not on the payroll. So let us prove ourselves. Let me pause here and just, move a little bit and just allow you people to laugh at me. I was looking for a visa to go into a country several years ago. When I attended the interview, simple question they asked me. You said you are going on holiday in this particular place. What are the holiday sites you will visit when you get there? Jesus Christ. It's like somebody saying they're visiting Nigeria on holiday. And you ask them, where do you want to go when you visit Nigeria? I say, I'll go to Idoani.
My family house.
I'll go to Idoani and I'll go to Enere in Warri. Because these are places that nobody knows them. There is no tourist attraction. There is nothing. Bible says, study to show yourself approved. If they will approve you for that visa, you will study. It is not just fasting and sowing seed. There are things you need to show to people that you know what you're talking about. And absolutely spot on there, Sister Diola. I think, look, if we're going to move, we need to be smooth. And for you to be smooth, you need to know what you're talking. So thank you so much for that. So we will go back to, I'll pause and answer my own questions a bit later on, because I want you ladies to be able to deal with all of this. So, Olusheye, what are the common excuses married women give for mediocrity in life and purpose?
Oh my God. This topic, it's like, don't just light the fire under me, basically. That's what it means, because, I'm that kind of person who I don't give myself excuses, really, when it comes to certain things. But let me start, first of all, by saying, what does mediocrity even mean? because it's a relative term, if I can say that. Because mediocrity to somebody else may be your own excellence, right? So I will say mediocrity is basically living below par based on what God has created you for, who He has made you to be. All right. So when I talk about mediocrity for me, it could be that I'm not living life to God's standard for me. You may look at me and say, wow, she's amazing. Like, she's doing amazing things. She's doing great. And God is like, no, what I put in her is so much more than this. She's only at maybe 0.001% of what she's capable of becoming. So let me first of all say that when it comes to mediocrity, you're going to have to take a look at God's particular blueprint for your own life and say, am I falling short of that thing that God has asked me to do or who He has made me to be? All right. And I want to just move a little bit into saying that, unfortunately, which I'm going to, kind of piggyback to what Stadiola was sharing before. Unfortunately, society now has glorified mediocrity so much that the people that are popular are those who just dance on social media, right? People that people are following and commenting on their pages, and they say, oh, wow, I have followers. And I'm like, following you to where? They are the people who actually are going nowhere. So all you have to do is be able to show a little of some form of, maybe you're funny or you're just doing some stupid things, for example, on social media, and people are like, yes, this person has followers, and you're like, 2 million followers. For what? What are they following them for? Right? That's what society unfortunately has done for us, that a lot of us have come to embrace mediocrity as a way of life, because you're like, what's even the point? What's the point of trying hard if these people are making money and they are liked, in quotes, on social media for just doing nothing, absolutely nothing, for being mediocre, with their lives? And so let me start from there and to say, you check your own life and say, am I embracing mediocrity based on the things that society has made me think are important things, right? And so let me go into the common reasons why married women, let me even say people generally, a lot of us, why we just want to embrace mediocrity and just being average and not living out the purpose of God for our lives, not living to the fullness of who God has made us to be. It stems from deeper issues. Some of us have allowed maybe what people will think, what people will say to kind of hold us down. But let me say also that for a lot of us, it is that we are lazy, right? We are lazy. We don't want to put in the work. Why? Because it is actually easier to follow the path of least resistance. It's easier to sleep and wake up at 10 a.m. than it is to wake up at 5 a.m. and invest yourself in writing that book, that next book, or getting that next degree, or, putting effort into doing the things you're supposed to be doing. And I'm looking at myself and I'm thinking of some of the examples that are just coming to mind as I'm sharing this. And I remember a particular year, I had made up my mind that I was going to write a book that year. So at the beginning of the year, January, I said, I'm going to write this book. And I put everything together. Everything was basically ready for that book. Manuscript was ready. Everything was ready. And then I asked somebody to help me like typeset or, design and all of that. Month 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We got September and I'm like, oh, the year's about to end. What are we going to do? This book is not happening. And you know what I did? I made up my mind that this year, this book is going to be published. I don't care what happens. So what did I do? I got up, started to research about what can I do to publish a book myself. Started doing the work. I would stay up late. I was going to work 9 to 5, right? So the only time I had was either before work or after work. And I had children too, okay? So it wasn't like as if I didn't have anything I was doing. But you know what I did? I would sacrifice time. I would set my alarm. I would wake up. I said, this book must be done. This book must be done. I wanted to publish one book. That year, because of that momentum that I had gained by just moving forward, I published 3 in 3 months. I had done 3. The point of that story is to tell you that sometimes mediocrity stems from our own idea about, how we want to put in the hard work. Do I want to put in the hard work to make my life better? Or like Omobola was sharing earlier, are we just willing to type amen in the comments for God is going to give you a miracle today? Or are we going to get up and actually put in the work for that miracle to happen? So let me just list a few of the things that people say in my line of work. I've heard it all. Oh, I'm married, therefore, my husband is not supporting me. Oh, I am married, I have children, I'm busy. Oh, I'm married. Because I'm married, I'm unable to juggle life. Right now, I feel overwhelmed with life. Oh, I don't have the support of my family to move forward with these ideas and these goals. Believe me, every excuse you give for mediocrity is just an excuse. What that means is that if you really put your heart to something, if you create a picture of a vision in your mind of who God wants you to be, and you relentlessly pursue that vision, you will get there. So whatever excuse you've given yourself, multiply it by 100 and tell yourself, this is just an excuse because God has strengthened me. He's given me all I need to become all he's called me to be. And so the wisdom that I need actually to become all that God has called me to be, I have it. That's what I always tell myself. Anytime I feel like, you know what, I don't know what I'm going to do now. I don't know what I'm going to do next. I just say, God, can you show me the wisdom that you've made available to me for this season of my life? Because there is a wisdom to not live a mediocre life, to be excellent in delivery, in how you appear, everything. God has given that wisdom. It's up to us to say, God, show me. I want to see it. And then be willing to put in the work, right? Because it's not going to come to you on a platter of gold, silver, or bronze, right? So, yeah.
Thank you so much, Olusha. Yeah, I've typed a question in that you asked us. You have followers. Where are they following you to? Oh, now on that basis, I think it's appropriate for me to chip in one of the questions that people sent in. It says, I believe that God has called me into ministry. How do I start? Now, I decided to answer this question in this way because we're talking about career. We're talking about marketplace. There is a marketplace as well, which is a spiritual marketplace. And there are going to be people serving in that marketplace as well as people serving in businesses and offices. And nothing stops you from doing all at the same time. As you can see, all these three women on the screen you're watching this morning, they are women in the marketplace who are doing their job and they are also serving in ministries. So that is really important. So I thought I should address this really quickly before I ask Adeola the next question. So what is the motive, or what are the motives for ministry? These answers I'm going to share with you were the answers given to me by the women in ministry who I mentor, and they were women who were already in ministry and pastors' wives. So the leaders of ministries and pastors' wives. I mentored about 16 of them in the last batch. And these were some of the answers they gave me when I asked them why they were doing what they were doing. So one of them says, so the Lord can use me to fulfill his purpose. Another one says, I had a close shave with death, so I decided to go ahead and support women and to touch lives. Another one says, I want to be a vessel that will draw people to worship him. You can see that that person is a worship minister. The next person says, I want to learn from other people and grow and fulfill my purpose. The next person says, to please the Father. And the last person says, I want to help children learn about Jesus and a balanced life. Now, these are good reasons why you can start a ministry. And when we're talking about ministry here, a lot of people think ministry comes from, you have been in a particular church for long enough, and then they call you out and they pour oil on you, and then they say you are now this and address you by title. If that is what you know about ministry, you've missed it. May I just break your heart by telling you that the only oil that has gone on my hair is on my head is the oil that I applied myself when I'm doing hair treatments. I couldn't even get my husband to put coconut oil. He would not agree. So you don't need anybody to put any oil on your head for any reason. People will tell me, oh, Amobala, we saw in the Bible, somebody anointed somebody. You see, there is never a demand for you to anoint me so that I can function. There is never a demand like that. Anoint me so that I can do the work. If you're doing that, you're making that demand of another human being, you are already wrong. So I thought to tell you Wrong reasons why people go into ministry. So you will look into your heart and see whether you're seeking to go into ministry for the right reason or the wrong reason. Number one wrong reason why people go into ministry is because they're bored. People look at me at times and, oh, our life is so interesting. Most especially with this, my gist that I've been sharing on the internet, the 15,000 pound and the other gist. And people are looking and say, look, your life is really interesting, Omobi. Yes, I tell you, my life is interesting. But I didn't start ministry because of boredom. It wasn't because I didn't have anything to do. Actually, I have a way of putting this across. Every person who serves on TPJ leadership is an extremely busy woman. I practically have to chase some of them up. The person that is sitting in the middle here on this screen is one of them. You have to send a message and it will say, I have received this message. Okay, because we are busy. So don't ever go into ministry because you looked around you and there is nothing to do. And you just think that the people who are doing this, the Mobala is flying to Amsterdam tomorrow. She's flying to Ghana the day after. Her life is interesting. No. For your ability to manage the small that you are doing is so crucial in you being able to manage the big. I was laughing and I was telling my husband during the week, I said, the way some people drive the car they drive, that car that is old and cheap, the way they drive it, you know that Angel Gabriel will not put them on the list of the people to drive brand new cars because of how they handle it. So find yourself something to do, something constructive. Don't go into ministry because you're bored. Look, when you start ministry and you are alone, that is when you will know that failure and boredom can come together to kill somebody. So the next thing you should never do to start a ministry is to get a job. Don't ever start ministry so that you can be employed by that ministry. It is wrong. It is wrong. What happens when you do that? When you get a job from a ministry, as a ministry, you are looking for your daily needs to be met from that. And if the people you're ministering to, if they are the ones that will not give to you, you will be frustrated. You will end up stealing from them. You will be frustrated because many instances you see people coming onto social media, onto the TV, and they're saying, support this work that we're doing. Some of you'll be wearing shoes that are 300 pounds. Come on, 50 pounds, you cannot give to me. You see, that is a frustrated man of God, woman of God speaking. You will be making demands. You tell them to contribute money for the building. You'll be buying a brand new car from me. You will be stealing. See, women are getting wiser and wiser. We know how to avoid people like that. Nobody can coax us into giving anymore. We have matured, we have graduated. So get a job. Get a job until the time when that whatever God has given to you to do, until people start to appreciate the gift of God in your life and they give you a gift here and there. Get yourself something, one, to take care of yourself, and two, to take care of the ministry. The ministry that God has committed to you, if He was the one that gave it to you, it's because He expects you to get the finance to keep it running. So if you don't want to steal and if you don't want to be frustrated, get a job before you start fully running a ministry. So people get into ministry so that they can make money. Why? Because you only need to have like 20, 30 followers. When they're praying, there are prayer sessions you attend, you will pay. As in, you pay. You pay or you don't get to pray. We all understand these things. We all know that we cannot be led by such anymore. Fame, 1 million followers, like Olusheye said. You go into ministry so that you can be popular. Several people are popular on the internet. Can be popular for good reason or popular for bad reasons. So if you want to be famous, impact is what makes people famous. If you have a ministry and there is no substance in your ministry, there will not be good fame. You can be famous. People will sit down now. Like my son will tell you, that pastor is not talking anything. And he's only what? How old is he? He's able to see and he will tell you, no, that is nonsense. And there are people that are even talking. They're talking, but there is no scriptural basis. Because you want to be famous, you now find yourself preaching things that are not in the Bible. Don't go into ministry to prove a point. What is she saying? I can do better. You will fall flat on your face. There is no competition. There is no competition. Adeola Remi John is a minister in her right. Olusheye Ashiru is a minister in her right. The women who came on board this platform yesterday, they're ministers in their right. The ones who will come this evening and tomorrow, they're ministers in their right. They are not competing with me. I'm not competing with them. We're not dragging customers. So don't ever go into ministry so that you can show them that you can do it. If you know people, they will focus on you for as long as they think you have something, and then they will move on to the next attraction. You will fall flat and you'll be deflated. Don't ever go into ministry because somebody says you will be good in it. Don't ever. I had a scenario, this was many years ago, where two people met and said, I see you. I see you, you've got a little bit. Look, it is good for people to see the good in you and point out that good in you. But that is not enough for you to go and commit your life to something. I've always said it. What you hear for yourself, you can defend. What somebody heard on your behalf, you cannot defend. Years ago, when I was in secondary school, I attended a summer camp. And in that summer camp, we were divided into groups. And each group was to do a presentation. It was at Queen's College or something in Ibadan.
Queen's School.
Queen's School, thank you. It was at Queen's School in Ibadan, Youth Foundation. And we went to this camp and we were asked to go into groups. And I was selected to lead the song for the group. And I still remember the song I sang. It was Late Forever. It was a song of evangelism. And I sang the song. And when the meeting finished, on the last day, which was the prize-giving day, I was called out as the most promising music minister. And because everybody was like, wow, I sang that song as though, the person that was dying was lying in front of me. But you see, there was something they saw. They thought it was for music, but it wasn't for music. It is for what I do now. It is the power to convince. It is the power to bring a word alive. That was what they saw. But they gave me a gift for being the most promising music minister. My dear sisters, even though I sing, and sincerely in the heart of my heart, I think one day I should release an album. But if I built my life on that prize-giving day, I would have failed. I would have missed purpose. So I'm going to stop now, and then we will have Sister Diola back on. I just hope for my sisters, because you see, we can cover your career, we can cover purpose, but ministry, some of us are here. No matter what we do in our daytime job, ministry is an essential part of our lives, and we need to be fully informed. So, Sister Diola, now, you are an employer, and I know you arrange interviews and you speak to people, and you've shared with me some scenarios before. So the question for you is, how does an employer choose who to give the offer letter? Can you please tell us?
Hey, Dr. Mobi. First of all, when, like you said, people come and sit in front of me for interviews. And in fact, most recently, I've had quite a number of them. And a lot of times, they just wear me out as I have difficulties in making my choices. And then at other times, you look at just the crop of people that present themselves in front of you. And just like Sister Olusheye said, you wonder why people are so much into mediocrity and they are not just ready to do the work and get themselves out there to get what they need. So they come back from the interview and say that, oh, I didn't get the job. In fact, just yesterday, someone met me and was telling me about someone who came to see me for interview. I said, oh, and she was actually quite good, Why don't you? She mentioned the person's name, and I said, okay, I know her, and I didn't say more than that, because, well, my own perhaps my standards are high, and rightly so, because I need people who are that competent to be able to handle what I want to commit into their hands. So when this lady came, and she didn't, let's not even go into details of what I saw in her, but I'll rather just focus on what is necessary for you to be your prospective employer looks out for in you for an interview. Do you have the first one is, do you have the leadership skills? You're out there, and I'm testing you. I'm asking you questions to know if you have charisma, if you have leadership skills, if you have the organizational skills to motivate and to influence others. Are you able to take the lead on initiatives? Are you the kind of person that can draw people together and get them to make a commitment? I remember my first job and how the interview went. I can never forget. Straight out of school as a management trainee. I mean, that was the position I was being interviewed for. And they put us in a group of about 12 people. And I just noticed that naturally, I just took the lead. Okay, so I think we broke into groups first of all. And then the question was, oh, now you've done all this, who is going to make a presentation? Everybody was, let me use the colloquial language, everybody was dulling. They were just there. I said, okay, I'll do it. I did it, and it turned out well. And of course, I got the job. Perhaps others got it also. Maybe a few others also presented themselves well in other activities. But for that, I knew that I did well. And it has happened to me over and over and over again. And then on this same job, I remember also then we had a manager's retreat. Maybe some months later, or about a year or so later. And here I was again. I was ready to just seize the bull by the horns and do what was expected. You see, in showing leadership, it speaks for you, even when you don't have to be out there leading people before I can see that you have leadership skills. It's in how you say what you say. It's in how you present yourself. It's in how you carry yourself. That's one. What about team building? That's another one. Same way, let me still use that scenario of an interview session. You have other people, and you show that you can work with a team. Teamwork is always a major criteria that employers look for. In my organization, recently we had to let someone off. Why? Because it seemed that she was always, whatever she did was just, this individual always did things that were just apart from others. At a point in time, it got to a head, and then we had to have this discussion. At this point, I think you have to be separated. And she was she melted, and it was okay. So I said, can you, out of your colleagues, would you be able to give me someone who can speak for you? I tell you, sisters, no one. Eventually, she spoke to someone then I said to the lady that came to interview, is it because you have the same affiliation, maybe religiously or socially? Is this why you're coming out? Because no one else could really vouch for this person. So teamwork is important. It's important in carrying out assignments. It's important in getting the work done. You have to be able to work with the team. Put aside your differences. Hang them on the cloak when you're going to work. When you come back, if you think that there's something you can, but when the work has to be done, it's for the work. Do it. The third one is problem-solving skills. You need to be able to prove that you can, you answer questions well. And then there are scenarios that are created for you. You see, the thing is, if you don't exercise your brain will not work. There's something about doing something over and over and over again. Even simple games like Sudoku, like crossword puzzles, they actually elasticize your brain, if I can say it that way. But that's just by the side. Just to let you know that you have to keep synthesizing and generating ideas in your mind. Ask yourself questions. If the bottle is turned upside down, is there a reason? Can it be turned sideways? Your employer wants to see that you don't just accept status quo, and that's how it is. Again, somebody comes to an interview. Of course, when it's an interview, you don't know what to expect. Whatever they ask you is what you get. And then you are there saying that, no, this is my major, but this is what you're giving me, and I'm not prepared for this. Even if it's not what you are prepared for, but you should at least try. They actually know that you are not prepared for that. So the fact that they put that in front of you was because they wanted to test something in you. You have to be able to reflect, check your thinking. Don't always accept things the way they are. Wake up and use your problem-solving skills to find solutions to questions. That's very important. Now, in the other ones I've said, you could test that very well in maybe I'm giving an essay to write. I always do that. I give you an essay to write. It's not so much about the content, but about the way you tackle or approach the issue. That shows that your problem-solving skills are work. You know what you are looking out for. I have noticed that a lot of people are just so laid back. They just don't want to try. In simple things, in simple day-to-day activities that we do, you just don't want to try. You just want to accept things the way they are. That will not take you far. So, in addition to that, because I mentioned the essay, it's also important for you to have very good communication skills. In speaking, for God's sake, if you need to employ a lesson teacher, get better grammar, better English, first aid in English to correct yourself, please do. Okay, it's not a bad thing, and nobody will look down on you. You can do that. Communication skills are important in writing, in speaking, whichever way you have to go to do that. Please do get it. The same thing with numeracy skills. Everything is important. You always have to synthesize. Please remember that word. Try out your mind on a lot of things so that they can work for you. I wanted to say another thing. Two more important things. Number one, commercial awareness is important. How it all adds up. Your employer wants to see that you know how you contribute to the bottom line. Your employer wants to see that you have a business mindset and that you are interested in the whole performance. You're not just in your own corner. You thought me in my small corner and I in mine. No, your contribution to the bottom line matters, and it is very important. So this is one thing your employer wants to see in you. Customer satisfaction is also important. Now, remember what I said about Ruth the other time. I want to talk about that too, that if you're looking for a job, now Ruth was out there in the field. She had a good reference. When it was time for Boaz to ask, who is that lady over there? People were ready to say good things about, oh, that lady, she's been here consistently for these past 3 days, and this is what she has been doing. Then also, she had history. You could trace her back to where she was coming from. Oh, that's Naomi's daughter-in-law. This is where she was coming from. This is how she came from Moab, or this and that. And oh, she's been very good to her mother-in-law, actually. And she was hardworking. This is very important. This is going to be tested. Now, I remember something that Dr. Mobila said. I was at either a video or something you wrote about Ruth, and said that, did you know that at the time that she was gleaning on the field, she didn't know that she will come back to be the wife of the boss, that the madam to those people there. So she presented herself well. So wherever you find yourself, opportunities are there for you to embrace, but you always have to be prepared, because you don't know. Like Girl Scout or Boy Scout, be ready and be prepared all the time. As we're speaking here, who knows? There may be an interview going on. So always be ready. Make yourself that person who will always be the first choice of your employer when the time comes. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sis. Thank you for that. I'm not sure if this is one of the questions that I was going to ask you later on. You see, we've spoken about how to interact with other people at work. How about the people you're actually serving? Let me give you an example. I went into a bank in Lagos many years ago, and the audacity and the rudeness of the lady, she didn't do it to me, but she did it to the other people in front of me. I guess there's an adage in Yoruba that says, no matter how bad you are, you know there are some people you cannot cross the line to be rude to them. But then you may just be wrong. Our attitude at work, it is unbelievable. And I must say it, I don't know, I know that, human relations, relating with people vary from country to country, but I'm an African woman, and I'm afraid a lot of the people watching us this morning are African women. And there is this rudeness in our attitude, in talking to people, in offering services which we are being paid to offer. You as air hostess, you are there, passengers are coming on board, and you're doing like that. I mean, I'm paying your salary. If only they realize that if we stop flying, there is no money for them to be paid. They're going to go back home, unemployed. what should our attitudes be? And unfortunately, this is happening. Even as Christians, the only way you know that they're Christians is when they're speaking in tongues, or they carry their handbag, or they're driving away and you see the sticker on their car, or bracelets. Yes, solution, yeah. They have bracelets of their next church convention on their wrist. What do you have to say about this, Adiola? It's just really annoying. You know, it's really annoying.
Yeah, you said something as you were speaking, but I remembered something also. As I said, you really cannot tell where your next interview is going to happen. I have had recent interactions, and it happens a lot. I mean, quite often that from time to time we sit together and we're thinking, this person will fit into this job. This person will fit into that, and then we look through, and you really cannot even. It's hard for you to pinpoint one person that will fit into that mold. Now, these people do not realize that back there in someone else's house, an interview is going on, because I get to do this from time to time. And I also can tell you that with this screening method, a few people have been chosen and have had to do some stuff for us. That's to say that you present yourself well, because you never can tell how or where this will be needed of you. It's important for us. It's a cultural thing. I mean, sorry to say, that's why I emphasize on the business mind thing that's common among us here, that you think, and then some, I've even heard them say, oh, how much am I even being paid? It's not about how much you're being paid. It's the fact that that's the job you have at the moment. Do the work. Like you said, it's what is paying that salary. It may be small, it may be mighty, it may be small, but whatever it is, it's what you need for the moment. I'm going to encourage our sisters, change your mindset. Look away from, except you don't want to go to the high places. The first question I answered, except you just want to remain at that level of mediocrity, or you want to remain at that level of obscurity. People who get to the top do not think like that. You have to be selfless in serving. You have to be selfless in offering yourself to do the work. I tell you, it's the distinction, and it's as clear as day and night. You cannot rise in your career if you are arrogant, if you are saucy, if you are laid back, and you just think that you get to work in the morning, cross your leg, then you bring out your Bible. Yes, it's a Bible, I know. Or I used to work somewhere also that I had this colleague who would go under the staircase and rattle in tongues, ratata and everything. Okay, because he was working on the night shift at the time. But what does it matter? Is that where you're supposed to be at that time? So sisters have to be, you have to wake up to your responsibility. God will demand this of you. I mean, we're looking at Paul the Turner, or Simon, yeah, right, Paul, right? While he was working, while he was doing the ministry, he had what he was doing. He did not attend. Even Samuel said at that point, anybody whose ox I have taken, come forward and show me at what point I took of you. That means these people were busy. They were doing the work, just like Dr. Mobi said of all of us. You have to be busy. It will not come to you easy. I'm so passionate about this, and I always want to emphasize it, that please, sisters should know. Don't take your work for granted. Either you work in the bank, your customer service, you're sleeping, you're chewing gum behind, and then your phone is ringing. You're supposed to speak to okay, I'll see what I can do. Yeah, and then you go to church on Sunday or Wednesday and you raise up holy hands. It has happened a lot. We've seen it. I wish we could just talk to ourselves here, hold this round table and speak to ourselves that after this meeting, we have a commitment to go out there and excel and shine as the lights that we are, make a difference, because that's the only way things can get better, either for us in this country, Nigeria, or generally the outlook that Christians have all over the world. Thank you.
Thank you, sis. I'm going to share two stories that came to mind. The first one, or maybe just one, many years ago, I had a business in London. And this business, when it was started, all I did was make money available. I'd never visited the place. I didn't know. What were they selling? They were selling agege bread, meat pie, Nigerian delicacies. So one of my sisters visited from Nigeria, and I said, look, there is this business that I have alongside with a few other people. I said, but I've never been there. I said, shall we go? Let's just go and have a look. So we went into this store, and the minute we came in, the gentleman behind the counter came and said, hey, ladies, sis, how you doing? Have you come for some, Nigerian good stuff? And I was like, and he says, you know this, you know about gege bread, fantastic bread, beautiful soft dough, better when it's hot, I can warm it for you. This is chin chin, this is puff puff. I've never heard them introduce puff puff to me in the whole of my life. I found myself buying puff puff, buying chin chin, buying agege bread. I was just spending money. I walked out of the place and I called the rest of the people. I said, where on earth did you find this guy? We couldn't sack him. He couldn't do anything wrong. I mean, he did not know that the owner of the business was standing in front of him. I was shocked. I said, goodness me, this guy can sell me to me. As in, he was so passionate about that. Then a little while later, I went to Ibadan for a TPJ conference and I stayed in a hotel. That hotel was opposite UCH. Checked in, settled into my room. Late in the evening, I was like, what's that? I jumped on the bed and I took the room phone and I called the reception. I said, I'm hearing sounds. I mean, this was several years. I said, I'm hearing sounds in the room. And the receptionist was like, what do you mean, madam? I said, I'm worried there may be a rat in this room. It was a very posh hotel, very nice, and new. And I said, I'm not, she said, oh, and this is what, please, madam, come down. I said, I'm not stepping down from this bed. I said, you need to come into the room yourself. Do you know what? The first person came and said, oh, madam, we don't know, they were fully booked and this one, and this guy was just, I was just looking at him like, look, you don't want to meet Omobola Jeffries. Let's just settle this matter like a family problem. So I told him, I said, thank you very much. I said, is there somebody more senior to you I can address? And then he says, our manager is on site. The first person that came, if you see him standing, you will say, oh, what an amazing man. He's well built, is this. And then this short guy came into the room. And that was the manager. And I said, manager, I'm still standing on this bed. I am not coming down from this bed until you tell me how a rat could have entered into this room. The look on this guy's face, he said, I'm really sorry, madam. Really, really sorry. You shouldn't have had to deal with this at all. Look, the first two sentences, my heart was already gone. And he says, I'm going to try everything possible to make sure that I move you to another room. Whatever it is we're going to do. Look, they had not moved me from the bed, though. But that man already won my heart. You know, he ended up moving me to like a presidential suite or so for the remaining 2 nights I spent there. It wasn't the move. It was the response. I tell you, ladies, as I was checking out of the hotel, I asked for his number. I said, if by the next time I call you, you do not have your hotel, you will be employed by me. And I was willing to recommend that guy to any, look, if you have a hotel, you need somebody to manage. That is a manager. So you don't know how your recommendation will come. You don't know, scenarios, 3 different people that I just explained to you. One who has never met me, did not know I was the owner of the business, and we know was just fantastic. One who was like, well, sorry, we are fully booked for the night, which was a lie because they were not fully booked. And then the manager who came and redeemed the image. So you are presenting yourself right there in front of everybody. You will do better to do that. The Bible says, seest thou a man, diligent in his ways. He will stand before kings. It did not say, seest thou a man who so sick. It did not say, seest thou a man who fasted. It did not say, seest thou. Look, you get to work in the morning. You were meant to resume at 9. You come in at 2 minutes to 9 and started, this is the day that the Lord has made. No, God is not with you in that prayer that you are praying. Let us just borrow ourselves common sense. Sorry. Olushe here. Exhaustion. What exactly is exhaustion and how can you prevent it as a woman? Whether you're single or married, it doesn't matter. How do you prevent exhaustion?
Okay, thank you so much for that question. And honestly speaking, I like to call exhaustion. I have another word that I like to use when we talk about being exhausted. I mean, being burnt out and all those things. I like to call it overwhelm. And I think that sometimes the reason why that happens is because something is too much for you to handle, right? Like it's like saying you put too much pressure on something, you overfeel that thing, that it's now bursting at the seams. You're not able to hold it together anymore. And I find that actually a lot of people, women in particular, have this, issue where you just feel like, I can't do this anymore. There's just so much. It's too much to manage. I can't handle this anymore. And so I just want to kind of like give us a few examples, of how exhaustion or overwhelm can happen. Because overwhelm is not often the problem. The problem is a deeper issue. The deeper issue is the things that you have allowed yourself to get involved in. Sometimes it's like saying you're wearing this shoe that is too big for your leg. Have you ever seen a little child wearing their parents' shoes? That's overwhelm. It's like you are in a space that is not fit for you. That space is too big. It's too much for you. And for some of us, we put ourselves in those situations. For some of us, life, society, and expectations of other people put us in those situations. And we also refuse to allow ourselves, the room to be flexible, right? So the first thing that causes exhaustion or overwhelm is, first of all, some of us are setting unrealistic expectations for ourselves. Yes, like you have way too many things that you're doing. You are involved in everything and anything. I was sharing something earlier about how mediocrity, and how it is that mediocrity is you falling short of who God has made you to be. For some of us, God has called you to do in a season, maybe 5 things, right? And you are pulling at 10 or 15. In that space, you are doing more than God has given you capacity for that season. Some of us are taking the syllabus of university, even though we're currently in elementary school, right? And that is where the problem is. You think by now, at this my level, I should be able to do these things. But at that your level, you cannot do it because that is not the level you think you should be on. You are not yet there, right? So if you have too many things on your plate, you will be overwhelmed, right? You're going to feel like this shoe does not fit. It's too big for me to handle. For some of us, especially in this era that we live in, we have allowed ourselves to just listen to noise, notifications. Phone is beeping here. That one is buzzing there. Personally, for me, I have no notifications on my phone. None whatsoever. Nothing. The only thing that buzzes on my phone is my calendar to tell me this is the next thing you are doing. Nothing. No social media. I don't get notifications. I choose to open the app when I want to go there. But a lot of us have allowed people's expectations of us to say, if I don't check it, what will happen? What will happen? So if you're going to be constantly bombarded with noise, with notifications, it's going to overwhelm you. How can you calm yourself down from all those things? You can say no and say, I'm sorry, I refuse to allow my life to be governed by noise and notifications. Some of us are also not setting healthy boundaries for ourselves. Sometimes you have to believe that you deserve the boundary in your life. Not everybody and anything and anyone should have access to your time, to your energy. But nobody has time. Like, I don't have time to attend to every argument that everywhere that is around. Like, I don't have that kind of time. Sometimes people are talking to me like, okay, not because it's okay. But I'm like, right now, I don't have the energy to get myself involved in this. So some of us need to start to see ourselves as deserving of boundaries. You cannot make everybody happy. You cannot everybody cannot like you. So that thing in you that makes you want to be a people pleaser, that is causing you to overstretch, to overcommit yourself, to think that you have no business committing to, you may need to start to learn to say no. You cannot say yes to everything because not setting healthy boundaries for yourself is affecting you mentally. Your physical energy is only so much. There's only so much you can do based on what God has called you to do. So you cannot afford to do everything and anything. You have to know where your energy needs to go because of what God has as his vision for your life. You cannot say yes to everyone and everything. You have to learn to say no. Did you have a time when you did something just for you because you wanted to do it, not because people were demanding it of you or people were expecting you to act a certain way? Overwhelm, stress, anxiety, mental stress, all those things, it is because we don't have boundaries that we set for ourselves, right? You have to ask yourself, why am I not taking care of myself? That is making me feel overwhelmed. Why am I not allowing myself to be priority? Is there something that makes me feel like I don't deserve to be priority? Sometimes we need to take a step back and say, I deserve to be treated well. I deserve to also have some sanity in my life. I don't deserve to live a life where I'm totally always constantly overwhelmed. I know that in times, there are times when you are in a season of your life where it's just a busy season. There's nothing you can do about it, right? But that should not be your everyday life. It shouldn't be what has become the norm for you, where you're always tired. You're always overwhelmed. You're always cranky. You're always stressed. You're always anxious because you think that that's what makes a mark of a good person, a good woman, a virtuous woman, someone who is doing everything. And anything. That is not true. A woman that is of virtue is a woman who is doing what God has given her the liberty and capacity to do in that current season of her life, right? So take time off, step back and say to yourself, you know what? I think I'm deserving, of this clear mind. I'm deserving of having good energy. I should wake up in the morning feeling good. I shouldn't wake up in the morning feeling tired from the beginning of the sleep. I wake up and I'm tired already. That should not be my everyday life. If you're feeling overwhelmed, think about it. Is this thing that important? Can I say I don't want to do this? Can I say no to these things? And stop running on this empty tank. Some of us are not allowing ourselves to be filled constantly. We talked about earlier, taking care of the total you. Is your tank filled? Your spiritual tank, emotional tank, physically? How do you feel within within you? Because those things are going to play a part in whether or not you feel overwhelmed. You can decide. Now, you know what? I've seen it. I've done it to myself many times. I'm like, you know what? Nobody's going to die if I don't do this thing right now. And I just say, I'm stepping away. Whatever is pending, we will. When I'm okay, we will come back to the pending things. But you should think of yourself as deserving of not being overwhelmed, because that's not what God wants for you. That's not God's plan for your life. God wants you to be fine, to be sound, physically, emotionally, spiritually, every area of your life. You should be sound. And if you find that you're not sound, you need to take a step back and check your life and see what is going wrong and how you can start to address those issues of overwhelm in your life.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Olusheye. You see, one area we can talk about life and other people, but talking about ministry overwhelm. A lot of us women, we're working full time. We're running ministries. We're serving in our local churches. We have children who are very young. I'm going to share a question one of my sisters asked me a few years ago. Then I'd like to hear your views about that, Olusheye. We went for a ladies' hangout, and this lady, she you could see the yearn in her heart. She said to me, Omo B, I know that I was designed for more than this. I know that there is a purpose to my life. But I see you that you've managed all of this, and I'm just wondering, am I ever going to be able to make anything out of my life? And I smiled that day, and I said to her, I said, sis, how old are your children? You have 2 children under the age of 4. 2 children under the age of 4. Your purpose in life is to take care of those children.
Yes.
Yes. That is purpose. Because you see, I saw a picture on Facebook, all things you see. I saw a picture of a cat was using a stick to poke a lion. And then they now put a caption and say, this something motivational speaker.
This cat has been listening to motivational.
They told these cats that you can do it. So Olusheye, I answered this lady and I said to her, I said, sis, I am in your country. I said, as I'm here, my children, they're both teenagers. On Saturday, I can decide I'm not getting out of the bed. I call one, hey, make me breakfast. You make me lunch. I carry my bag and go. Because my children are now at a particular age where they can take care of themselves.
Yes.
But you know what? When we have heard motivational speakers, we believe that we can do everything. There'll be problem at home and other issues. So Olusheye, please help us to address this, because there are many of my sisters who motivational speakers may be destroying their lives at the moment. So we need your help.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. I mean, that is such a beautiful one, actually, if you think about it, because I'm always of the opinion that, and I know that it's what it is, right? That if God has called you for a purpose, whatever it is that is an assignment for your life, that God has called you to, God's not an author of confusion, right? So He looks at you and gives you what you are capable of handling. And you know what He also does? Doesn't just leave you. He gives you the particular strategy for that current season of your life. So I always ask people, who have this conversation with me and say, okay, I mean, this, I don't know. I feel like my life is this. And I remember asking the same question at a women's meeting a few years ago, maybe about 15 years ago, because my son was it was a very little baby. He was like maybe a few months old at that time, and he's 15 now. Okay, so I remember asking that same question and saying, I feel like I should be doing more, but I feel trapped here. What do I do? I have this baby. How can I be useful to God? And I remember the woman looked at me and said, put your baby on your back and do whatever you need to do and everything. I mean, just trying to answer those questions and all that. But over the years, I've seen that a lot of people are still in the same position. What do I do? Oh, I have this constraint, blah, blah, blah. So, and I have a few tests that I use for my own self when it comes to knowing what I should be spending my time on in this season of my life. First thing I ask myself is, what vision has God put in my heart, for the future? Even though God has put this vision in my heart for the future, it does not mean that I have to run every single part of that vision right now. Because there will be a part of the vision that I can run based on my current season. If, for example, God has called you to lead women in certain areas, whatever that looks like, okay? How about you start praying for them first, where you are? Every day you wake up, 30 minutes, even as you're backing your baby, as you're taking your baby's shower, whatever they're doing, as you're feeding the baby. How about you spend time praying for those women that God has called you to, that you don't yet see them? They haven't manifested. You have not yet started to do itinerant ministry, traveling all over the world, but you can pray for them where you are. So ask yourself, what vision is in my heart? And what can I do about that vision in this current season of my life, right? And then ask yourself, based on what God has called me to do right now, what can I prioritize? And I love what Stamobi said before. You have to know that, first of all, as a child of God, your priorities, God, your family, husband, children, in that order, right? And then work, whatever work looks like for you, with the work that God has put in your hands to do, enterprise, ministry, non-profit, whatever, it comes after. That's how God has, that's the order in God's sight. And you know what? God Himself, the Holy Spirit, will continue to help you to know which one you need to focus on in every season of your life. There are times when God will tell you, sit at home. Your husband needs you now. You're not traveling to any, don't go for any meeting. Cancel all meetings in the next 6 months. Take care of your marriage. This is what is important right now on the front burner of your life, right? So if you're feeling like, oh, I don't know, this purpose thing, it looks like it's not happening. What's going on? God is going on. So you have to ask Him, what are you asking me to do about this big vision in my heart for now? And I like to say that the reason why some of us feel like, oh, God has called me to do this thing, but I don't have enough room in my life to do those things, is because some of us haven't asked the owner of the vision how we should navigate it in this current season. Ask Him. He knows what you should do Ask him, Lord, what do I do right now? And then in your daily activities, you should always ask yourself these questions. Does this activity I'm doing right now help me to move forward when it comes to fulfilling the purpose of God for my life? Or am I just doing these things to please other people because it seems like that's what they expect me to do? Because the reason why some of us are even complaining is because you feel like I have 24 hours in a day. How can I make this thing work? How to make it work is to know what God is asking you as yourself, Oluseyi Ashiru. What is God asking you to prioritize in this current season of your life? I was telling somebody yesterday, I said, my husband has been away for work for over a month, thereabout. You know what I did? Thank God I work for myself. With the moment I pick my children from school, I close. Not because I have I could do more, but I said no. I sense that this is what God will have me do in this season. Once they close, once I pick them from school, once they come home, that's the end of the work for the day. Until the next day, we'll start again. Why? Because I realized that God wanted me to spend time. My children are older. They can possibly fix themselves a meal or whatever. But you know what? I just sense that God was saying, make room for now. Pay attention to certain things. Stay here. And I said, this is what I sense God saying. He's the owner of the ministry, of the purpose. He's the one who gave it to you. He's the owner of the vision. So why do I want to run it in a way that would mess up with other things that God is also asking me to pay attention to, right? So ask yourself, do these things that I'm doing right now fit into the purpose of God for my life and all of these things that I'm currently engaged in? Because if God didn't send you have all these things that you're doing, and God is going to be like, I didn't send you to do those things, right? I didn't give you permission to do those things. But here you are, feel like somebody who's making a difference. And I like to make this joke during COVID. I said a lot of mommy pastors do not have a portfolio right now. There's no church. None of us are home, right? So the thing that used to make you feel good, like you were doing something, those things have been yanked off you. Now we're going to know who you really are. Under all of the activity of, we're doing ministry, we are traveling around the world, the things that mattered, they don't matter again because there's no church. Nobody's going anywhere. All of us are home, right? So it's important that we don't allow the things we do to form our identity, such that you feel like if you don't do these things, then I'm nobody. Because that's where the problem is for most of us. Like, you feel like you should be doing so that you can get approval from God or from other people. But you know what? We have to perish that thought because God has called us to rest. If I don't do, who God has made me to be doesn't change. I am still a child of God. It's not about the results I get in my life or the things I think I can see or people can see around me. I must be able to be comfortable to step into that space where I'm like, if God has said for now, stay at home, watch your children, that's okay. I don't feel a need to prove a point to anybody. To do something to please other people because they're looking at me and thinking, she should be epic like that. I'm epic like this as I'm home, taking care of my family, right? So, yeah, that's it.
Thank you, Oluseyi. Run away. Feel free to run away. Feel free to hide. Feel free to block people. Feel free to remove yourself from WhatsApp groups. You see, nobody is putting you under pressure except yourself. There are many times people contact me and they say, Omobi, I think we should be doing this, we should be doing that. Look, after you've said it to me, I then look into myself and I ask myself, is this what I wanted to do? I mean, I keep saying it. There are two people. I'm an author today because of two people. One of them is Adeola Remigion, and the other person is Dr. Olajubo. And how did that happen? Adeola has been bothering me and said, look, we need to get these things into a book. We need to. And then she went and got somebody who was going to edit the whatever. And I was going up and down with the person until God now said through Dr. Olajubo, I said, look, woman, do this thing and get it done properly. So, yes, there are times when you will be stimulated by people, but don't let them put you into an overdrive. Because they will tell you, do you know that you can do this? Oh, your ministry should be reaching 5 million people at this time. You didn't ask them, is that God's speed or your speed? Because people can put you under pressure. Somebody said to me, oh, Bala, do you know that Precious US should be running a matchmaking set? That's it. I mean, I'm telling you, look how weird that sounds to you. And that is how weird that sounds to you. Another thing that can make us tired is when we bring people on board into our lives that they should not be there. We
Yes.
get overcrowded. When you get overcrowded, the air becomes stale. And when the air is stale, there are no fresh ideas. It looks like there's a lot of you,
Yeah.
but you're not making effort and you're not making impact. So we need to be very, very careful. I look at you, if people have exhausted their purpose in your life, it is okay to let people go. It is always okay to let people go. You know, people will say something like, we started with you. It is all right if they started with you. The question is, are they still relevant where God has brought you? When you hold on to things that you're not using anymore, it is called clutter. And when you are living in a space that is cluttered, you will not have the freedom to move. You need to get rid of entanglements. Otherwise, they weigh you down because you want to please the people around you. They are the ones who will give you advice. They are the ones who will bring you suggestions. Your contact are the ones who decide the way your life is going. So, yes, manage this, manage the people you give access to you, manage the access that people have to you. I brag about this. I've got many phone numbers. My personal number is in the hands of probably about 20, 25 people. The number has increased from the last time I announced because some people are now worthy of having it. But you know what? That means you cannot reach me every time. You can call the number you know, but I will not answer. There are times I will look, I see that you are calling, but the calling in my own life, my husband, my children, my career, my prayer life, they are calling me at the same time. I cannot give everybody attention. Now, those who are listening to me, you are in the ministry and you feel the need to meet people and help people. Pay attention to yourself. Pay attention to yourself. I look out for the people I love. I look out for the people who are close to me. If I see you posting on Facebook, social media, anyhow, I call you and ask you, are you okay? There is a need, you know, for you to be seen out there. People say, put yourself out there. Yes, put yourself out there, but don't throw yourself out there. Okay? You are my Facebook friend. You posted at 20 minutes past 1. You posted at 22 minutes past 2. You posted at quarter past 3. You posted at quarter to 4. You now posted at 6. I'm asking, there's something wrong in this woman's life. I need to be checking up on her.
Yeah.
It is either because there is something missing and you want affirmation from outside. You want people to tell you you are okay. I need to get to the bottom of it. So we need to look into things like that. Now, Sister Diola, the next question for you. You are a high flyer. You run many platforms and many things. You do many things. That woman has done all sorts of training, whatever. She's an expert in bra, how your bra fit you. She's running a school. She's the coordinator for Thy Precious Jewels for Abuja and our, national, coordinator for Nigeria, and many, many hats on the same woman. How do you manage it all? And two, what word would you like to share with women like you whose lives are so busy? How can they keep their head intact? Being this successful, being this busy, and the man of the house is still paying salute to you. How? How? Share with us, please.
Thank you, Dr. Mobala. Some of the things that I kept nodding whilst Lucia was speaking, because a lot of the things that she spoke were the things that I had in mind also. It's all about being able to find the balance between life and purpose. A good analogy that I like to use is this. Let's imagine that you are flying an airplane and you're flying through, as we all know, you're flying through turbulence. In that airplane, you are the pilot. So it's up to you to apply your wisdom to know how to balance life and purpose. Now, there's like an instrument or a part of the airplane that I read about. It's called the tail plane. It is said that the tail plane is what actually helps to stabilize a plane. So whichever way it goes, and every time you're taking off and the plane is going like this way, you see that you're gradually still trying to find stability. So that's what the pilot does. That's what you have to do in your life at time. You will always be making that upward climb, or you'll always be flying to a destination. But at every point in time, you need to be able to find that balance. I like what she said when she said that for now, she closed at a particular time because that's the purpose. You need to find your purpose per time. You cannot afford it's a very flexible thing. You cannot just say it's a one-way thing. Every time your tailplane tells you, now it's going this way, this is life. Life is your social network, life is your marriage, life is raising children, life is your friends, your family, extended family, and all that. Purpose is that passion you have to do, the calling you have, other things. So every time you are being pull between the two ends, and you're trying constantly to find the balance. What you do per time is what is important, and then you also have to prioritize. It's also, you can also use the analogy of a weighing scale. You put a scale and it's on a balance, and then it goes like, then you have to augment to make it balance like that. What do you do to augment at every point in time? I remember this example as well, that sometimes you don't have to do it all. There's no, I remember that, I think it was father in Israel that when the preached this and said the virtuous woman in Proverbs 31 is in Proverbs 31. Okay, because you cannot really do it all and all like that. You always have to be able to know what is important and find that priority. That's the only way your life will make meaning. Otherwise, you will not be effective on both sides. Now, the problem that many women have, I tell you, is that if you try to pull yourself on both ends, you will not even succeed in both ways. You are this mother who is attending your son's football training, and you're holding a Zoom meeting. Yeah, because you have the clients are waiting, or you are reporting to your boss. So you're on the football pitch and you're holding a Zoom meeting. You are neither a good staff or wherever you're working, and you're not also being a good mother at that time. So you have to choose. Yeah, it's fine that sometimes you have to balance, you have to try to find a way in between. But the truth is, for you to be able to do both effectively, one always has to give way every time. That's one thing that we women need to realize, that we can find that balance. You always need to find that balance. One other thing that helps you to find that balance, please, and for this is particularly for those of us who are not yet married, is you have a spouse that complements you. Marry right. Somebody said it this way. Don't, I mean, for sake of Yoruba listeners, don't she marry. If you end up in the wrong hands, or you end up in the wrong home with the wrong man, you may not be able to find this balance. One of the things that has helped me is that I have a husband that understands and also helps to complement in the things I have to do. This is one key point that will, with this one, you can solve. You can go places, you can do things. But if you are always on the side of, okay, I have to be able to balance both, I have to. Now, well, if you are single, you can, and you are not, marriage is not in your agenda or your plan, okay, fine, that's it. Perhaps you have less things to balance and less things to manage together. But if you have to have that, that also means that even the marriage, you give time to it. As you said, marriage is right, it's critical, you have to give time to it, when you have to give time to it, and how you have to. Of course, you do that every time. But you know, like I said, that the support structure is there. Also, if you are that career woman and you have to have you are right there at the pinnacle of your career, you sit in the corner office, it's also fine. You also need to have other people that do other things for you. You don't have to cook the soup all the time, except now I said, if your husband is that supportive person, he also knows that you are not, you could also get in the kitchen and cook it. If he's the person that, he has to eat it in a particular way, the beans has to be grounded. I don't know if people still do it. You have to use the mortar to make the beans for akara, or you have to pound the yam in the what's it called, in the mortar. Yeah, if that's the kind of person you are with, God help you. But otherwise, find other people, outsource some of these other things that are not core to you, so that you'll be able to function very well. Just recently, I had this in the office, somebody had to ask me that question. I hope you have other people that do some things for you. And I said, yes, thankfully I do. So that helps a lot. You have to realize that that is very, very important. Otherwise, you will not be able to meet up on all sides. Now, let me also add this to it. If you are that kind of person that you you realize now that you are not really getting things done the way you want to. Okay, you've made mistakes. Some of the things we've said today, you think that it's because, oh, I wish I could have done it better if I had 20 years ago. Okay, so the Chinese proverb says that the last best time to plant a tree was yesterday, right? It was 20 years ago. The next best time is now. So start now. You can still change some things. You can still change something. The Igbos also have this proverb. They say that whenever a man wakes up, is his morning.
That's money.
Start now and work on the things you have to do to be able to balance it. Don't give up on yourself. You can actually take things. And I like what Oluseye said. You don't work with somebody else's time. You'll be exhausted. Don't focus on social media. You're on social media. You think some people have it all. No, it's just for the gram. I tell you, it's not how it is at the back end. So do not be carried away for your mental health. Like my sister that spoke yesterday, something resonated well with me. Don't sleep on Facebook. Don't build a castle there for the sake of your mental health. You are scrolling through, you are seeing what other people are doing. You are wishing you have the life they had, but my dear, you don't really know what's happening. Leave them to do that. Later on, you get to know the real them. You focus on what you have to do part time. Somebody else's comma or somebody else's full stop, maybe your own comma. Let me also use that one. Do not work with their time. My mom will say, don't use somebody's wristwatch to time your own journey. Work with your time, and then you get there safely. So purpose one thing gradually at a time. Don't look at me and think that, oh, she has it all, it's all said, everything is fine. Work with your time. But it's important, like she also said, that get it right. Don't like Dr. Mobala said also, it's not because somebody said to do it. Is it what God is telling you to do part time? Is it what you have to do part time? Also, it's on your phone. All the things we said, you don't have to carry every phone call. Honestly, you don't have to. When you are ready, there's a reason why you can call back, okay? When the time is right, call that person back, and then you can continue the conversation from there. Otherwise, you will never have time to fulfill purpose or to get things right. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, sis. Thank you. We're making good progress. Now, Oluseye, I know we've spoken about, taking care of yourself and blah, 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 fulfilling purpose. I put a question forward to you, which I'm going to merge the two together. How can a woman manage her time and still get time for herself and enjoying life? And talking about getting time for herself, what are cheap ideas of me time that is applicable in most countries? I think you're probably best to answer this question because you've lived in Nigeria, you're living in Canada. Whilst you were in Nigeria, yes, you managed your me time, and now in Canada, you're managing your me time, I believe. So what are ideas or what you can do, and how can you just do it all and still be able to catch fun? I don't want to use myself as an example because I am currently the lifetime president of the Soft Life Gang. I don't want to be overthrown. So I thought we should just ask experts. So fire on, sis.
Oh, thank you so much, ma'am. I mean, when it comes to this thing of, oh, I want to be able to manage my time well so I can make room for myself. And it's something I was talking about earlier. I think that we have to first of all start from the mindset that you are deserving of me time. Some of us have had some cultural stereotypes, gender biases. A friend of mine would say that they say in Igbo, I don't know how to say it in Igbo, but she told me in English that, suffering doesn't have competition, right? You don't go and say, I'm the one that suffered. I suffered more than you. That's not something you should use as a thing of joy, right? Some of us have been conditioned to think that it is when you are exhausted and you almost kill yourself that is a mark of a true godly or a strong woman. No, like what I was saying earlier, soft life gang. And what does soft life gang really mean? It does not mean, I'm sure you can tell, it does not mean that she's idle. She does nothing but Netflix and chill all day. That's not true. It just means that we have decided within ourselves that we are important enough to make room for ourselves because we are the most important piece of real estate that we could ever invest in. I am the most important thing. If I am not here, I will not be a mother. I will not be a wife. I will not be the ministry leader. I will not be the coach. I will not be whatever it is that I'm doing that makes me feel like, oh, these things are. if I don't take care of myself, and I have this thing that I like to talk about when it comes to a mother's, in particular, a woman or a mother's life, or even a woman, right? I like what to say. These 5 circles of your life. Are you sure that every area of these 5 circles are covered? We talk about your spirituality, your wellness, your enterprise, your relationship with other people, and then we talk about your family, that is your marriage and your parenting. Are these things working in sync? And then I also like to say that there's this 4 things that I used to measure when I'm measuring whatever activity I'm doing at every point in time. I always like to say, first, purpose. How does this activity align with my purpose? Every day, on my calendar, on my schedule. I don't do anything. I'm not joking. I don't do anything that has no bearing with these 5 circles of my life. What am I looking for? I don't do any of them. I have to ask myself, how does this activity contribute to my life and to my future and to where I'm going? And that future involves even wellness, myself, my own wellness. Does this activity contribute to any of these 5 circles of my life? How does it contribute to my purpose? And then I ask myself the question of, how does this activity that I'm involved in right now, on my schedule, I don't even put anything on my schedule that is not what I believe is going to contribute to where I'm going. So ask yourself every day, have I given room to these 5 things? Put them on your calendar, schedule them there. Time for me, put it there. And if somebody asks you and says, are you available? You say, no, I'm not. What are you doing? I'm on a retreat. Personal. In that retreat, I just want to go and sleep in a hotel room. Like, whatever. Let that be you. See yourself as important enough to invest time and energy in caring. Put yourself on your calendar. This is me time every day. And you know what? Don't let it be something that you do once a year or whatever. Factor. Create an architecture in your life that makes room for you every day. What does that look like for me? For example, personally, for me, I must ensure that I am doing something every day for myself. What does that look like? It could be I'm reading a book. It could be I'm meditating on scripture. It could be I'm just by myself sitting down in my room or my bed. Like something that fuels my energy, that adds to me. Everything I've said right now does not involve any money. It just involves me being by myself, right? So there are things that we can do, but you have to, first of all, believe you deserve it. Second of all, you must be intentional and plan it. Schedule it into your life. Let it be part of your daily routine. Make room for yourself. Daily, I spend 15-30 minutes for me. Weekly, I take time, 1 hour every week for me. Monthly, I take a day off to do me. Quarterly, I take 3 days off. And that's what I'm talking about, what I do. Quarterly, I take 3 days off for me, whatever that looks like for you. Every year, I take 1 week off, apart from regular vacation or whatever, 1 week off for me. Because at the end of the day, I must know that life is not passing me by when I pause. The Bible says, take my burden. It is light. This yoke I put, it is easy. That's what God is saying to us. And I love how he puts it in another translation that says, come, let me teach you the rhythms of grace. And I love what the Bible says about Martha and Mary. Martha, the problem was not that Martha was cooking. That was not the problem. The problem was that Martha did not know that at this point in my life, there's only one thing that I need to face, and that's my priority. What is my priority now? That's it. That's the problem. The problem is not that, oh, you're doing anything. No. The problem is, what am I facing? What is my one thing for this moment? My one thing for when I am me is me. Right? When it's me time, is me time. And nothing else should disrupt your me time, except, of course, God is leading in another direction. But put it on your calendar. Block the time off. Book the holiday in advance if you need to. And that doesn't even mean you're traveling anywhere. And when it comes to things you can do, inexpensive things, everything I've talked to you about so far have not really involved, spending money. That's the truth. They haven't really involved spending money. You can choose that I will put my phone off for 30 minutes every day and I'll sit and read a book. The thing is, you be self-aware enough to know what makes you feel good, what replenishes you, what renews you, what refreshes you. Personally, for me, if you left me by myself with a book, I am okay. Like, all the energy that I've been sapped, I get it back. Like if I have an exhausting day, just sit down somewhere, read a book. I'm okay. I'm fine. I don't need to spend money or go to an expensive hotel to make room for myself. I could just sit somewhere, take a walk around my neighborhood and sit on a park bench and just be there for 15 minutes. Take a walk alone. That may be what you need to do. Some of us, we just need to gather a few friends. If your energy is fueled by being in contact with other people, gather a few friends together. I love where I live. Nobody's posting for another person. If somebody comes to your house, all of you expected to bring something. Not the one that you put the burden on the host. She will give all of you food. By the time she leaves, you'll be like, hey, this party I just had, what's the point? When you're coming, all of you, tell each other, okay, whose house are we gathering this month? Let all of us gather. Everybody bring what you can share. We'll sit down, we'll share the thing, we'll go home. We'll leave here feeling good. We didn't spend too much money. Just I think I bring a meal for one or two people, right? At the end of the day, I haven't spent a ton of money to make myself feel good. The most important thing is that you realize that you are priority. You are good enough to invest energy and time in. You deserve it. You deserve the good life. That's the problem that a lot of us have. You deserve the good life, and God's burden is light. His yoke is easy. He's not going to put a burden on you that will break you and kill you, right? He doesn't. And God is not looking at you as, oh, I'm marking her script. Did she do anything today? Because that's why she's deserving of coming to me. No, no, no. That's not God. That's not our Father. He's not marking any script and saying she didn't do. God is not a God of doing. He's a God of being. He wants you to be, not to be doing. He doesn't mark your book based on what you did or what you didn't do. That's not God. He's not checking those things. So the moment you shut down and say, 30 minutes, I'm shutting down, I'm not doing anything else, I'm putting my phone off, my phone is somewhere, whatever, that's the time you want to spend just refreshing yourself. Whatever that looks like for you, you find you. What is that thing that makes you feel good? I'm not going to tell you that you should do what I do to read a book. Some people cannot read a book in their lives. Well, their own, maybe just want to chat somebody on the phone, pick up the phone and call your friend. That may be what you need to do just to unwind, right? I'm not even mentioning going to spa. No, I didn't say those ones. I've not said go to spa because if you like go to spa, that's on you, really. I've not said have a massage. I haven't said go for a swim. I haven't said all of those things. I've just said create an architecture in your life to do what you love to do. Whatever that looks like for you, whatever you can afford for that moment. I think that the most important part of this thing is knowing that you are deserving of it and making room for it. Everything else will follow. The amount of money you won't say, I'm putting the money aside for my vacation. It does not matter. I've done it before. I'm not joking. No, all the money I had. I didn't have any other one. I said, I am going. Bye-bye, people. The Lord be with you.
will not keep us, you.
And I went. And like when I come back, we will face the rest of the problems in life. But at the end of the day, I came back so much energized, right? And I'm better off for my family, for the work I do, because I'm making room to replenish. A burnt out person cannot function properly. You cannot function effectively as God wants you to function. The structure you put in your life right now to make room for those things, delegating, letting people do things for you, knowing that your core area in this house is to be mother and wife. The rest, the food, the laundry, all those other things, core function of who I am, right? They can be delegated to other people. And if you don't watch the place in this house right now, nobody's going to die. That is the beginning of deliverance. For us as women, I think it's important that we deliver ourselves from those things that make us feel like if I don't do this, then I'm not a good woman, or I'm not the measure of a perfect woman, or whatever it is that you have in your mind about what a woman should look like, right? Let's deliver ourselves from those things, and we'll see that we begin to make room for ourselves. You feel good about yourself. You feel lighter when you start to do those things, for yourself. Yeah.
I have a testimony. I never knew he would instruct me this way. I never knew he will instruct me this way. You see, your last 2 minutes, Sheye, I'm going to put it on continuous play in this house. You said we should do you, Abby. You do me. You see, people can go anywhere, but to do me is to buy shoe. So Now, in the mouth of two witnesses, it is established. I don't like to wash plates. I don't like to iron. And you have just encouraged my life in 2 minutes. So I hope the people need to hear it are hearing it. It was said on Wives Summit too. Men who are joining, I know some of you are there because you'll be waiting for me when I visit your country to come and tell me that woman on Wives Summit. See, if only you understood that a wife that is calm, if you are talking about bedroom matters, she's likely to perform better than a wife who is stressed. A wife who has gone on holiday. Some wicked men will never allow their wife to go away on holiday on their own. And some wicked women will never go on holiday alone. I don't know what is the problem with women. I said it to you. If you want to go on holiday, you have the means to go on holiday. You don't need your husband to follow you to holiday. You don't. You don't. You can just arrange, book a flight if you have to, get the children sorted, go on holiday. Remember how life was when you were alone. You wear your glasses, you wear your hat, and you pose. Let the children be the photographer. You can order takeaway. Why can people not learn how to enjoy life? Some people, it's a problem, it's a diagnosis. They cannot enjoy life. Join the soft life gang. We're spreading like wildfire all over the world. There was a time somebody I know went on holiday. I had to tell her husband, if you come and check into that hotel and tell us that you have a conference in that city, you will see what I will do to you. That is how some husbands are so clingy. Let your wife go on holiday alone. Sister Diola, remember our last summit in the leader summit in Dubai? Some people have been away 15 years. Every holiday, there is family, children, husband. When they are packing load for 1 week before the holiday, when they arrive at the holiday, the husband will ask, what are we eating? All of us left home. We have never been to this country. I don't have map in my head. I don't have map in my head. All of us will plan where we're going to eat. All of us will oversleep during the holiday. When it's time to go home, all of us will pack the load to go home. You will finish some holiday with some husband. You will get back home and now need a holiday. It's very wrong. God is watching you. God is watching you, all the husbands who are watching us today. I'm just telling you, your wife needs to be well preserved. The Bible says that your husband, you present the wife to yourself. You present the wife to yourself. You're looking at other people, other people's wife, whose skin is glowing. You're just telling your wife, see how you're fat. See how you're fat. See how this person. You don't know what that man is doing to maintain the glow. If people are looking at you and say, I'm fine, I don't do anything. I hope you people know. I'm an over-pampered wife. But you see, where I do my hard work, you people don't see. I do a lot of hard work. I am there. I'm in my husband's face. But when it comes to doing this one, doing that one, when I want to travel, I pack the luggage. I pack my luggage. I suggest to my husband what to pack. And then I put the luggage where somebody can help me to bring it downstairs. Now, people, you want to be man. God did not make you to be man. Reduce your testosterone level. Leave the headache for the owner of the head. I'm warning you now. Okay. I just dwell on this. I want us to finish on time. I just dwell on this. You see, there was something that God taught me about priority, setting priorities. And if you go back to Eden, you will understand how God sets priorities. What God did was to create the things that will be needed by man. Those things were created first. Then after that, God created man. And based on necessity, he created woman. And all of them were settled and sorted before he brought other people in. One of the challenges we have as women is that we are busy catering for things before the need for them arises. Now, how does God expect you to arrange the order of importance in your home? God should be number one. And in your life, for the single sisters, God should be number one. After this is the people within your family units, which includes yourself, as Oluseyi has spoken. Then you have relatives. Then you have people of the household of faith. Then the rest of the world. Nobody will die. I heard Olusheye say that. At times people want to make me feel guilty. Let me give you a typical example. Hello, Amobi. 3 weeks ago, I sent you a message saying that my home is in trouble. You did not answer me, just to let you know God did it anyway. And I'll reply then. He was going to do it anyway because you had the wisdom to do the right thing. And you did not need me. I tell them. And then they are shocked that I responded that way. Why? Because I don't take nonsense. I won't let you spill the nonsense on me. You cannot. Because why? Omobola Jeffries is one woman. There are like 1 million other women like me in the whole world who can help you. There's so many people who can help you. Some of us, we do fire brigade approach. It is when the house is on fire. You are not looking for somebody to help. How about building your tribe? I think it was Tolu who first started using that word yesterday. Build your tribe. The people you were there for will be there for you. The Bible says that if you want to have a friend, make yourself friendly. How many people do you listen to when they are in distress? If you don't listen to your friend when they're in distress, how would they ever listen to you? Give people a little bit of time. Some people are looking. I responded in a way to a comment on social media one day. I felt bad for a few seconds. You know, I was talking about my lipstick, and I said, I've got at least 30 different shades of red lipstick. And somebody said, give me. I said, no, go and buy your own. You know why? Because it is easy for us to say, give me what you have. What have you given? Invest in friendships. I brag about my friends. If my husband makes me angry, one of my friends will buy me a dress. Yes. If one of us is angry, all of us arrange to go out and eat and spend their money. Yes. That is how to make life beautiful. So when one of us is upset, all you need to do is put it on the chat. As you are putting it on the chat, and somebody is saying, yeah, is that what they did to you? Me, that the last time we were praying, one of us said, hey, I said my husband was asking me, why did I leave the room to go to the car, our car? He was asking, all of us started laughing. Because we're like, that is it. But if you don't have anybody you can talk to, you will say, my husband said, why did I go to the car? Why did I marry him? 22 years ago, somebody else was toasting me. You just tell me to matter. It will blow up because you don't have your tribe. You don't have people you bounce things onto. At times you bounce it and they will say, no. Your husband, no, we will not agree. Other times you bounce it, they will say, sister, are you near your period? This matter is not a matter for you to be angry about. Build your tribe. Somebody will say, I'm sure somebody will be typing somewhere, I receive grace. No, you don't need grace. Be nice. Be friendly. You already have the grace. The Bible says the grace, everything that you need for this life, he has released to you. Stop praying for grace to be nice and have friends. They have hurt you. People have hurt you. See, after every person who has hurt you, who has left, there have been 1 million people who are lovely, who you may have missed because you shut the door. Ask God to help you to heal. Ask God to send you the right friends. You can pray to God for friends. You can pray to God to send you people who will appreciate you. It's not everybody you can be friends with. Oh yes, grace matter, but I tell you, my dear sister, you already have grace. You already have it. You are breathing. It's not because you wound your machine this morning. There is something that was released to last the whole of your existence. Plug into it and enjoy it. See, you have somebody. I have somebody. Make yourself the somebody can reach. And then you will have somebody you can reach. It is as simple as that.
Yes.
I built my tribe. I have women I pray with. I have women, they may not always be the same people. I have people I talk money with. I have people I talk ministry with. I have people that if I want to test glasses, whether it fits me, I contact them. I have people, if I need a goosey, I contact them. Every aspect of your life, you must surround yourself with people who are relevant to you. It is so important. Now, I'm going to give you ladies some time to drop whatever it is that is in your heart to drop so that we can finish. But don't be in a rush. Just, one after the other, just share something with us that you want to share with us, and then we can finish. Who's going first?
All right, let me go first. I want to say thank you to you, Dr. Mobala, for this opportunity to speak with other women. I feel that a lot of the things we have said are things that are so crucial to our growth as women, to our independence, and to being able to stand on our own. I remember one of the conversations you and I had some time ago about a particular lady who was experiencing perhaps some turbulence in her marriage at the time. And then you said, now this is why wives have to listen to things like this, like Wives Summit, because we have to realize that our independence or your life does not depend on any man. You are not anyone's how do I say it? You are not, it doesn't have to be, you don't live because of him, you live because of yourself. And I'm glad that the last question was on me time. We have to realize that that is important. Your purpose in life is not tied to, it's not tied to your husband, it's not tied to your children. You have to find that purpose yourself. And this is why you do not need anybody to give you to validate to validate you. You have to validate yourself. Look outside them, look outside these other things, and find fulfillment in yourself. Do what makes you happy. Do you, as we have heard. Do what makes you happy. Do what is important. Find a connection with God and do that. And be sure that you have aligned with his purpose for you. That's very important. The second thing is also, as we've said, reach for the top. Having done all, make sure you stand and reach for the top. Mediocrity is not your game at all. It's not your portion. Mediocrity, you should not be playing in that mediocrity field. Anybody can, any woman who has the right hormones, the right genetics, and everything can give back to children. But there are certain things that not every woman can do. Why don't you find that one special thing that God will have you do? Distinguish yourself, raise your head out in the Lord, be unique and find that thing. That's your purpose in life. Even Jesus had a purpose. For this reason was the Son of God made manifest, that he may do or destroy the works of the devil. That's what his purpose was. What is your own purpose? Everyone should have that purpose statement. Why are you here? What are you doing part-time? What one thing that I hate to see so much is people that just live their life and everything is just whatever finds me at this point in time is what I'm going to do. Meanwhile, there are other women who are making it to the top, who are hitting it, who are being so inspirational. Some other people are trying to catch up with them. That's where you should be. And if you are on that, and you are that woman who is already on that inspirational ladder, you already have a purpose, you've already defined, particularly if you are in the workforce or in the work environment. Let me assure you that you can still make it to the top. Do not hold back. Do not say because you are a woman, because that's what the society expects of us. That's what culturally is expected of us as women, to be laid back, to not be offered the corner suit, first of all, to think that, oh, you have women, you have children, you have a home to keep. Yes, you have all these things to keep, but that does not mean that you cannot reach to the top. It could also be said that, okay, now you just got married, or in another 9 months, we expect that you'll be pregnant, you have it. So because of that, no, do not plan to leave where you're working when you have not left. While you are there, make the impact. Do not think that because you have all these things ahead of you, so I know it will happen a time, there will come a time. Who says you cannot balance both at the same time? If men can do it, you also can. Another thing, do not also limit yourself and be generous with praising yourself. You are deserving. I like what you said there, sis. You are deserving, and that's true. In the work for, oh, Adela, I like your this year. I've carried it for 6 weeks, so I didn't know you even like it. Why? Just take the compliment. Yes. Oh, it's lovely. I actually know it's nice. Don't be shy to accept that it's nice. That's who you are. That's your life. That's what you should be doing by yourself. And then two other things. Your network matters, as we've already said. I like what Dr. Tolu said yesterday about your tribe. You need to have a network. Your network works for you. that person you can go to. Or in the work environment, you have a network. In the professional environment, you have a network. In the work environment, you have mentors, people that you can approach and who can tell you, they can give you good advice. In the work environment also, look for you, identify your sponsors. These people will put in a good word for you every time you need it. They will be there when you are not, and they will speak for you, and they will get things done for you. They will recommend you to high places, and they will also help you. And lastly, for those other people that they're neither your mentors nor your sponsors, be nice to them. You will need them on your journey up. You will need them. Okay, do not burn the bridges behind you. Do not think that, yeah, after all, I know I'm meant for the top, so look, just leave them. They will be the ones to recommend you for the top. They will be the same people you will work with when you get to the top. So you need them. So you need to train them. Don't amass everything to yourself. Don't hide the knowledge and think that because I'm giving knowledge to them, so I'm not going to get them. You will need the same people. Assuming you even get to top, you find out that you have incompetent people under you because you refuse. You thought you carried your eye for them. You thought that they are not my mate. They are not at my level. So these are key things that you need. Your network, people. You cannot survive without people. You need people on every part of your journey, on every side of the way. So, sisters, it's very important. You can make it to the top. God has designed the top for us. Please, it's for us. It's not for other people. I would like us to have that mindset. If others can do it, that's what I tell myself. That's what I tell my staff in the office. I say, look, this is not my level. And it's not because I think I've done little. I only say that to know that there's a place I'm going. There's a future ahead. And I have to strive more, do more, be more excellent at what I'm doing so that I can get there. And God will help us all. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much. Thank you, Sister Adiola.
Wow.
Olusheye, what's your parting word for us?
I was just thinking about the fact that this is called Tpj Wives Summit, right? So we're talking to it. We're primarily addressing wives in the room, and I just wanted to share a few things that have helped me to where I am. And these are just it's like a summary of what my life is about, how I live my life every day. And the first thing that I want to talk about is the fact that no matter what we've talked about now, we're going to talk about later on and all of that. It starts from you envisioning what a beautiful life looks like for you, right? What does a beautiful life look like for you? Because nobody else can help you define what a beautiful life looks like for you. You decide it. And there's something that I like to call, that's something that I teach and talk about is there's this 12 significant life pillars that everybody needs to walk through and define what it should be like for you in every area of your life, right? And then once you decide, okay, this is what I want. This is kind of like where I want to go. When it comes to my marriage or how I'm raising my children, my wellness, everything we talk about today, right? Or even throughout the summit, this is what I want it to look like for me. And then you decide within yourself and say, how can I design? How can I structure my life in a way that allows me to live my life and have this beautiful life that I've envisioned for myself? Because see, these things are not going to happen by chance. They won't. It has to be you deciding within yourself that I will choose to design, structure my life in a way that is beautiful. Whatever that beauty looks like, based on whatever God has shown you about your future. And then look at your life and say, this is the future I want to get to. This is the design that I'm putting in place for it. What are the gaps in my life right now that will not allow me to be able to do it? For example, I have this picture of my head about, the kind of beautiful wife I want to be. And then I say, I think I'm lacking in certain things that is not allowing me to be intimate, or to just have this beautiful marriage that I want. What do? Do I just moan about it? Or do I just lament and complain about it? Or do I actually go and find help from wherever, ask for wisdom for those that have gone ahead of me? Find a mentor, find someone who can point to you, teach you in that area, whether it's in your career, you feel like there's a gap. Do I need to skill up in this area? Do I need to do a certification? Do I need to have a mentor in the workplace? What do I need to do to close the gap between where I want to go and where I am right now so that I can have that beautiful life that I've envisioned for myself? And then you ask yourself, how can I get equipped? Right? How can I get equipped? Because this thing about getting equipped is intentional. Do I read a book a day? How am I putting learning into my everyday life? Not making it look like, like they say, if you want to hide something from an African man, put it in a book. Some of us always say all these things like, oh, I'm not, sorry, I don't know how to do those things. I'm not tech savvy. Oh, I'm not this, I'm not. And I'm like, really? Really, in this day and age, you cannot find a way to find information about where you need to go. There must be something you can do right now that will move you closer to where you need to go. And you can find that out. Information is king. It is powerful. Sometimes the difference between where you are right now, where you need to go, is just that little information gap that you do not have. So what are you going to do to get that information and skill up to that point? And then ask yourself, how can I make personal growth a thing in my daily life? How can I ensure that I'm not static? I have this mindset that is constantly shifting, moving forward. Okay, yesterday I was this on level 5. Maybe tomorrow I want to go to level 7. Can I constantly evolve and grow? Because whatever God has committed into your hands to do involves you actually growing, right? Involves you moving forward, growing, having that mindset of, I want to be better than I was yesterday. In my marriage, parenting, career, business, whatever. I want to be better than I was yesterday. And then ask yourself this last question. How do I want to leave this earth? What legacy do I want to leave behind? How do I want to be remembered? If I got into a room and I left the room, what do I want people to say about me? How do I want them to perceive me? What kind of person do I want to be? How can I pour into somebody else? Because at the end of our lives, that's what matters. It's not the number of followers or the people that like you on social media. It is how many lives you have touched, you've affected, you've impacted upon with the amount of time that God has given you here on earth. And I truly hope that all of us will put in the work. That will not just be like Stamobela said, oh, God will give us the grace. The grace is already available. What are you going to do from now to be deliberate and intentional about the kind of life that you decide to live by yourself?
Thank you so much, Olusheye. You managed to stay awake all through. I give you trophy. Thank you so much, ladies who joined us today. I believe that it's been worthwhile for you. It's been for me. After the summit is over, I'm going to go back and then watch all this all over again. Thank you, Sister Adeola Remy John. Thank you, Olusheye Ashiru. Thank you so much for pouring out and being a blessing to us. It's been absolutely wonderful. Now, the summit continues this evening at 7 p.m. UK time. Let me give you a clue what we're going to be talking about this evening. There's going to be 5 of us this evening. We're going to have Toyin Arowolo talking about motherhood, childminder, nursery school, feeling of inadequacy. How do you manage their food and whatever, She's going to be talking about that. We're going to have a Molade coming in from Australia. She's going to be talking about how to avoid the sex discrimination, when you need to resign, how to do things properly. She's a compliance person. I fear people like that too. They're not nice at times. Then we'll have Trisha Famorio this evening. Money. That woman can make money grow out of trees. Unbelievable woman. You want to find out how to import things from abroad? That woman blows my mind every time. She'll tell you small businesses. How do you do it? Who do you need? Very vast woman in that capacity. We have Lagos housewife. I cannot go and come and die. I am still the president of Soft Life Gang. What a machine can do, I must never be found to be doing. I told my husband, is there a machine that can just tell me, just put my makeup on my face? I'm that lazy. I'm a president, I tell you. So, the General Secretary of Soft Life Gang Association is coming to talk to us this evening about how you can cook for a party of 30 without getting into the kitchen. Really. So, she's coming to talk to us about that. So we have a beautiful time this evening. So go ahead. If you're watching on YouTube and you're not subscribed to us, please subscribe so that you can receive notification. Thank you all, ladies. Please feel free to share the video, and we will see you at 7 p.m. tonight. God bless you. Thank you, ladies. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon. Bye.